Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Hollifield, and welcome to Last Man Standing. Stupid clock was really fun tonight. It ended just a couple of minutes early, which gave me time to start on time for a change because I really hate to post my opening while their closing is still going on. I figure the same people are going to be watching that show and this one, and I'll give them time to redirect their browsers to the new URL. And it's just one of those things. I don't know why I feel that way, but I do. So just a minor peccadillo. So let's see. We have Chris with us tonight so far, and we had one watcher until I opened my mouth and started talking. So let's bring on Chris. We'll just go ahead and do the show for the people who are going to watch it on the replay.
Yeah, who knows? Somebody might join in a little bit later. You never
Yeah,
tell.
yeah, and never can tell. Um, there
Stranger
was uh,
things have
there
happened.
was some observations being made earlier. I believe it was yesterday afternoon and last night in the green room and on Facebook today that it might be time for the streaming show bubble to have burst because lockdown is kind of fading away and things are going back to a semblance of normal. And a lot of people are no longer spending their time at home glued to YouTube and Facebook videos and things like that. And this is just another example. Um, Different shows, audiences are, the numbers are getting lower and lower. And hey, I'm not doing that. You're doing that.
Yeah, well, I figured people didn't want to see me blowing my nose. All this stuff blooming kind of got my allergies and sinuses on
Hey,
fire.
it's
So
getting to be that time of year. I'm hoping that I did not just miss the first week of spring. Uh,
it's false spring.
yeah, that's what I figured. But then again, I've got a lot of work to do. So it'd be just like Mother Nature to go, oh, yeah, you've only got one more day. And then it's going to be full blown 100 degrees every day summer for the next 6 years. Um,
Yeah, I hope not.
well, it is what it is, as my oldest son is fond of saying.
Yeah,
Things
that
will
is
work
a
out
popular
however
saying.
they work out. Yeah. I've got to check and make sure that I've got the Hallowcon website locked into my browser so I can get there. Because I will have to email the link to myself at work
Hmm.
to be able to register for a room. Uh,
You have to call the hotel.
have to call the hotel.
Yes.
Okay. Can't do it online. Well, that kind of cuts down on the kind of rush that you get for LibertyCon,
Yeah, but
where the entire hotel gets sold out in less than 30 minutes.
yeah, that's not going to happen because in order to make sure that they give a Halcon attendees the first crack at it, they block off the hotel, and um, if you call the hotel and do it and tell them that you're with Halcon, then you get the reservation.
That's good to know. That is good to know.
I
So,
mean that
well, I
that
really,
way they try and make sure nobody comes in and gets the rooms out from under us, online thing, and it's a layer of protection for our attendees to make sure that they get the room and get it as soon as they can.
well, I would really, I would really love to be back in the same room. I really liked that room.
Well, I happen to know somebody who knows somebody who can get that done.
It was not the most grandiose room in the hotel, but I found it really comfortable and it was nice and clean. And I will have my wife with me, and she used to work on the hotel cleaning staff
Hmm.
back in the day, and she's got high standards. And I'm going, honey, uh, This ain't a Red Roof Inn, so you might have to cut them some slack.
Yeah, but you know it's not a dirty hotel.
No, it's not. It was amazingly clean the whole time, and they did listen to complaints about the non-functioning equipment, like that ice machine that had the door uh, pretty much wedged shut, so you had
Hmm.
to go to the only other ice machine in the building in order to get something to fill up your cooler or
Yeah,
whatever. Um,
and they have done a lot to work with us to make improvements over the years, and that's another reason why.
that is an ongoing thing. They can't afford to do everything in one year. Sometimes they got to spread the budget out a little bit.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah,
getting hit by the inflation bug like everybody else is.
yeah, exactly. And it helps if people are polite in their reportage of certain
Hmm.
problems or any problems, and just go, yeah, I know it ain't your fault, but um, it'd be nice if this was actually working. And
And
uh,
they do need to be made aware of things because they might not
yeah,
know.
they might not know. Like that ice machine, I bet everybody thought, you know, it gave ice. You just couldn't open the door to get to it
Hmm.
and get anything out of it. Um, Now, I was very impressed with the breakfast setup for a small hotel like that. It
Hmm.
was not some big elaborate walk in and order a full meal thing. You walk in, you made a cup of coffee. There was a waffle maker there. There was donuts and danishes and things like that. And Joe Dog had horror movies playing on the TV screen,
Yeah.
and it just perfectly acceptable. Everything was fine. This is not Dragon Con we're talking about.
No.
You don't
And
you don't
it'll
have to
never
have
be
a
Dragon
media
Con.
room with 68 screens,
Yeah.
and you don't have to have a full sit down or make reservations and order in advance restaurant either.
Yeah.
Uh, I am really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it as much as I'm looking forward to this summer's LibertyCon, actually.
Mhm.
And I've only been to one Hallowcon, and I fell into just absolutely loving it.
Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I had a feeling you would. Uh,
Well, yep, it's a nice bunch of folks, and it's a nice location, and I had no objections to anything at all. Except it being real cold because had to have the doors open so
eh,
people that were actually working didn't overheat.
yeah. They the weather was a little bit colder than normal. Usually there's a warm day and there's a cold
Hmm.
day, and sometimes those days aren't always the same. Sometimes the Friday night's cold and the Saturday's nice. Sometimes the Friday night's really nice and the
We
Saturday's cold.
we just happened to get cold and rainy weather the entire weekend, and
Yeah,
that's not anybody's fault.
yeah,
Yeah, I had the clothes to cope with it.
yeah.
Um,
Luckily,
yeah, well, no, not luckily. I plan ahead. I'm
well,
going.
I try and give weather updates the week before so people kind of know what to expect and can kind of pack and plan and prepare
Mm,
as best as possible. But again, Mother Nature is fickle, and sometimes she likes throwing us change ups.
yep. Oh, you're prepared for this? Hang on. Let me change over.
Yeah. That's why I usually tell them ahead of time to prepare for a cold day and a pleasant day
Hmm.
because you have hopefully garments for both days.
Hmm.
And hopefully you brought an extra pair for both days in case one rolls over into the other, the
Hey,
weather type.
it's the last week of October. Nobody should be packing swim trunks. You know.
Yeah. Although there was one year that Friday was really warm.
Hey,
It was
I would,
almost 70 degrees.
I would love it. I would love it, but
Yeah.
it's a lottery. You get what you get. So you just make your plans before you leave the house. You remain adaptable, and when you get there and find out how things are actually happening, you act accordingly.
But I can tell you the hotel continues to make upgrades as they're able to. They aren't finished. They have plans to do more, and they were nice enough to only go up $5 a room on regular rooms. I mean, that's king or double.
Yep.
You can't beat that.
Hey,
Not in this day and age.
I expected room rates to go up more than that for any level of any hotel chain.
Yeah.
We are not in very prosperous times at the moment,
No,
so people have to charge more in order to stay in business.
but it's also still a reasonable rate for
It
those
is very reasonable. It is very reasonable. Yes, indeed.
that are struggling to find extra discretionary spending in their budgets with the way everything's going up.
Yep.
I mean, rent's going up, food's going up, gas is going up, everything's going up.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And there's no use complaining about any particular person, blaming them for that, because
I
usually
mean,
whoever
it's
it is you're blaming doesn't have anything to do with it. It's just somebody you don't like. So,
well, the problem is it's not just one thing; it's several things influencing it, and whether
yeah.
you like somebody or whether you don't like somebody or whatever the case may be, it's more than just them.
Uh huh.
Whether they're helping the situation or not, it is more than just them. And let's leave it at that.
Uh huh.
But yeah, I would expect to have a good time, hopefully, good turnout, and you know, um, look forward to seeing all who wind up being there.
Uh huh.
Hopefully, nobody has anything to come up and alter their plans, and
This is true,
unless
but
it's to attend instead of not attend.
yeah, emergencies have a way of arising, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean,
The best
stuff
laid
happens.
plans, yeah. But, I bet Megan's already working on her menu for the whole weekend. Uh, that girl has got it together. Let me tell you, that is one hell of a cook right there.
Yeah, we're we're like I said, we're still in the early planning stages, but the contract is signed. Room reservations start Monday, and of course you can all memberships are live. They buying your badges. That started Monday, no Tuesday, I believe.
I don't even know if I did that yet or not. So I'll have to get two this year.
Well, if you're getting the table, I think yours is included with the table. One of them is. You'll have to get the other one, but
Well, yeah,
the $35 pre-registration rates, you can't beat that with a stick.
I will have to get a table. Lindsay wants to uh, allow people to give her steampunk outfits a new home because she can no
Mhm.
longer wear most of them, and they are some beautiful clothes. And I'll have a few books. Don't know that I'll have anything freshly released,
Yeah,
but I'll have at least a few copies of everything that I've got out now.
cool.
Uh,
Um,
I'm hoping that I'll have some new stuff, but that's not up to me. That's up to my publisher as to whether or not uh, my slot in their schedule comes up in time.
well, hopefully that will happen. I mean, I
It'd
can't
be
see it.
nice.
I can't see it happening for Liberty because it'll be here before you know it. But
Yeah,
Hallowcon's a definite possibility.
yeah. Uh,
I'm not going to say it is or won't. It will or won't happen, but it is definitely a possibility.
Well, if I can just get another week of uh, not having to put out fires every day,
Yeah.
maybe I can even get this one that I've been working on for the last year finished and turned over to the publisher and get it in the pipeline to await its turn. And then I've got something else that I need to finish right after that. And the complicated thing about that is that I want to get a nice little canvas, and I want to do the cover art.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I have not done a painting, and I don't know when. And I am really looking forward to actually doing another oil painting. It might
Okay.
not be a huge wall, mural wall size, but I believe that I can do it justice. And
So the itch is there and it needs to be scratched.
yep, I just need to get far enough ahead on the actual writing to where I can take the time to mix the paint and splatter it all over a canvas. Um,
That's
it's not
understandable.
is not going to be Jackson Pollock, but it's not going to be Salvador Dali either. So
I mean, both had unique styles, and there was a certain amount of, at least a certain amount of appeal to each of them. It just depends on your taste and what you're looking for.
yeah, well, I'm hoping for something more on the Norman Rockwell edge of the equation there, but
Yeah. You would like something a little more traditional.
actually, I know exactly what I want to do. It's it should be fairly easy. It's basically front and back cover. It'll be a landscape with two figures on the front cover. Plenty of room for the title, the byline, and the back cover blurbs and stuff like that to go in. Um,
So
but
kind of a blending of Norman Rockwell and Bob Ross.
well, actually, it would be more of a Bob Ross situation all around.
Well,
Um,
I figure with the two figures that would be more Norman Rockwell like, but the landscape that's definitely Bob Ross.
hmm excuse me, I got to sneeze myself here. I'll be right back.
Go right ahead. Oh, for those of y'all joining us, this is Last Man Standing. Dan is right back with us now.
Yeah, that was a totally unexpected sinus attack there. I mean,
It,
felt like
it
somebody
happens.
just
It's that
it felt
time.
like somebody just emptied a pepper pot into the air around my chair. And
I
actually,
hate it when I get those that come out of nowhere that you can't stop. You don't see
oh
coming.
man, I sneezed hard enough to where one of my ears has stopped working here.
Yeah, just
Okay,
just be
that's
glad
better.
you.
That's better. I can now hear out of both ears.
Yeah, just be glad you aren't doing one of those semi-sonic things.
Oh no. And here we go. There are other things going on. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to having all this stuff, these two books that are in the works, finished and ready to go. And like I said, do the painting that I would like to have for the cover. It shouldn't be that difficult. It's just a little bit of figure drawing and some landscape in a building. And I'm good at landscapes and buildings, and the figure drawing would be the biggest challenge. But I do have a photograph of the two models, so that I would be able to fix that. And basically, it'll be a drawing from a photograph. So,
Sorry about that. I was trying to get some dust that was around my keypad, and I accidentally knocked myself out of the. String.
Hey, could be worse. I woke up in the middle of the night after pouring a can of beer over my keyboard. And next thing I know, I'm having to order another keyboard because it
Mm,
did not survive the immersion. So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, at least I didn't fall asleep on you.
hey, that's my job.
We can't have people doing your job. That's your job.
Yeah, really, I'm the one supposed to be Rip Van Winkle around here.
Oh,
Oh,
it's a good thing we can laugh about it now.
hey, I can laugh at myself anytime. I'm hilarious. I I don't even know half the stupid shit I'm going to do from minute to minute.
Oh yeah.
Uh, it's highly entertaining how I can do some incredible faux pas or just some well one play in for a natural X here or something
Yeah.
to just quote a PDQ bot, but the antics that I accidentally get up to or they're quite funny. I don't care if it's looking at it from my point of view or from some outside viewer. Um, life is an hilarious trip sometimes.
I told you what I've been doing on my Facebook page for month of March.
Hmm.
I For Saturday I chose Eric Clapton's song off of Journeyman, "No Alibis."
Yeah,
He has Daryl Hall singing harmony vocal with him and playing keyboards on that song.
that is one underrated fella, really. Hall and Oates did not get enough credit for how good they were,
Yeah.
or are actually. Neither one of
Oh
them
yeah.
are
They
deceased
they
yet.
still are awesome. I mean, uh, as John Oates said, I know I'm a good singer, but I know Daryl Hall is a better singer. That's why he sings lead on most of the songs.
Yeah, well, um,
But John does do uh, vocals on some of them. So,
yeah. Well, look at the chorus. They had at least three people that could sing.
oh yeah, Rick Ocasek and Benjamin Orr, the bass player, and
Uh-huh.
who was it? Was it the drummer or the keyboard player?
I think it was the drummer, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
And I still run across people. Occasionally, I'll watch reaction videos. I'll still run across
mm,
people that are exploring music that isn't familiar to them, and they go,
yes.
"Oh my God, the drummer can sing too! How does he do both at the same time?" And I'm going, Never heard of Ringo, have you?" Um,
Well, there's Ringo. There's Phil Collins, although he doesn't play drums that much anymore.
yeah,
Um, Kelly
there's
Kagi of
there's
Night
the
Ranger.
fellow from the Romantics. He takes
Yep.
an occasional turn at drumming and singing at the same time.
Dean Castronovo, currently of Journey, also of Revolution Saints. He also uh, played and sang for the Dead Daisies and a couple other projects he has worked on.
Roger
He's a
Taylor
very
of
good.
Green.
Yes, Roger Taylor. Um, oh, I'll remember it here in a minute. Um, Don Henley, of course, of the Eagles.
I don't think Carl Palmer sang. I'm not sure. Emerson, Lake and
I
Palmer.
don't think he sang lead. I think he sung harmony or
Yeah,
background
I'm sure
vocals.
he
But
did.
but I
I
believe you're
don't
correct on
remember a
him
time
saying
that
lead.
he took the lead, but I'm not denying that it could have happened.
Yeah,
It's just I don't. It's been quite a while since I went through their catalog.
yeah.
So yeah.
Um, Although he doesn't sing lead, Rick Allen of Def Leppard plays with one arm, 2 feet, and sings background vocals.
Hmm. You know, that was a really tragic situation. They thought it was going to break up Def Leppard, or at least make them replace him. And
Hmm.
he came back with a determination to keep
Hmm.
playing, even though he'd lost an arm.
Yep.
And
Oh,
more power to him. I mean, you can't really tell he's that good.
yep.
He's able to overcome that particular handicap.
And he was able to use technology and determination to develop that technology to make it work.
I think the determination was the
The
biggest
key
part
ingredient.
of that equation right there. He was bound and determined not to have to quit.
Well, they were talking about it when they first saw him after the accident. They were like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do?" He's like, "Hi guys, how you doing?" And like they couldn't believe his attitude, and it's like, I'm pretty sure it was like, hey, I've been given a new lease on life. I'm gonna make the most of it.
Yeah, it's only a scratch.
'Tis merely a flesh wound.
It's exactly, exactly.
Um,
He had this "come at me, bro" attitude. Yeah. Uh,
um,
get rid of that flyaway hair there without
if
having to
you're
pull out a brush.
if you're familiar with Skillet, their
I've heard of
drummer,
him.
sings lead and harmony vocals on a number of their songs. And I can't think of Miss Ledger's first name at the moment, but she's a pretty good drummer and a dang good vocalist. And of course, the drummer they had before her was another female, and she was good.
I think Mel Brewer of Grand Punk Railroad has
Yep.
he did several turns at being vocalist while he was playing.
Wasn't
Um,
he the lead vocalist on Some Kind of Wonderful? Or was it
to
an American band? Because I'm pretty sure it's one or the other.
I think it might have been American Band because the guitar player is always the one seen singing
Okay.
vocals on Some Kind of Wonderful. And
Okay.
I really love the concert footage where he's out there and he's beginning the song, and somebody brings his little daughter out and sits her on his shoulder. It's just so cute. It just you could see the pride of fatherhood in his face right there. Yep, it, honey, let's get through this song and it'll pay for your college education. One, two, three, four.
I'll
Oh,
be right back.
alrighty. And that's just another hazard there of doing live stuff. And occasionally one has to step away for various kinds of biological imperatives. Boy, that sounded like a loaded thing that should have been said in the green room, but no, that was not a double entendre. But yeah, there are a lot of musicians out there that have been underrated and seen as, oh, they do this, when they actually do lots and lots and lots of other things. Um, Not a lot of people who are not real fanatics of Frank Zappa know that he actually had a PhD in music and wrote sheet music for the band to learn for almost all their songs. It was not just jammed together and we'll figure it out and try and remember it. He had the notes written down, and you see Zappa with a baton. He is actually conducting his little orchestra there. Doesn't matter if it's rock and roll or if it's the an actual orchestra that is backing up the rock band. There are loads and loads of people with multiple talents that some of them do not get recognized, and that's something that's highly overdue. There are plenty of people that can uh, multitask, shall we say, but some of the tasks they are doing remain unsung because they do it in the background, and it's not highly visible. Not just musicians, but there are lots of different artists and singers and writers, uh, composers, folks that do things that people know them for, but they do other things that folks don't know them for. The lead guitarist for Bebop Deluxe, now on his own as a solo act, Mr. Bill Nelson. He is not only one of the world's greatest poets, but he is also a painter. And there is a fellow that I know from well, I'm not exactly sure which of the Viking sort of countries he's in at the moment. But not only is he a fantastic composer and keyboard player, but he is also a reputable tennis player as well. Um, there is I can't remember her name. I really can't. There's a lead singer that's also a fashion designer. It's not a band that's really famous. You'd have to have been around in the 80s and 90s to know of her. And I wish I could remember her name. She not only is a fantastic vocalist, but she designs clothing as well. Um, there's a couple of people. Ted Davies, the comic book artist that we all know and love from Rising Tide, has part of his education and one of his earlier professions, he was an architect. So he can design a house or a larger building. Knows all about that stuff. And it from my own pursuits in drafting, I can tell you when you get a chance to do some of that stuff and you get into it, it can be a whole lot of fun. Um, I multitask a bit myself. Um, well, regular viewers know I've got music albums out that I composed on the computer, and there's nobody singing anything, so you don't have to worry about squeaky vocals or whatever. If it's hey, I've written lyrics for a couple of the songs, but we never found anybody brave enough to try and sing them. Um, but most of the stuff is just me messing around with the computer and getting it to play all the different instruments and whatever. I've got oil paintings in three different private galleries all over the southeast. I've got short stories and books out on. You can get them on Amazon or whatever. Um, I've got what was it? What was it? There was something else I did. Oh, I from time to time I will do leather work for steampunk cosplay costumes. Not very often, but I enjoy doing that as well. Um, uh, I have built some furniture as well. Our kitchen table and the bench seats that go with it, the entertainment center, all the bookshelves in the house. I did that, uh, and they do the job they're meant to do. Some of them look really nice. Actually, my wife convinced me to make an effort to make them look more decorative rather than just simply functional. I excel at functional, decorative. You got to have time to put that together. And occasionally, I do have a few moments where I can uh, rise and shine, so to speak. Um, Welcome back. I was
Thank
just
you.
at a loss for words.
Yeah, I was trying to think of any more drummers who sang lead vocals or did significant background vocals, but I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah, well, once you start trying to think of it, everything goes away because you're Johnny on the
Yeah,
spot there, and that spotlight can blind you. But
yeah,
yeah, uh, I was going on about people that are known for one thing but actually can do several things. And I
yeah.
pretty much exhausted the list that I had, but
Well, did you go over Michael Nesmith?
no, I didn't. I did not get that far. Not only did he invent music videos, but he's a damn good guitar player as well.
Yep. And he wrote a lot of their songs. I don't know if he wrote all of them, but I know he wrote a lot of
He wrote his fair share. Now everybody in the band was creative, so they all contributed. Some of them with an entire piece, and some of them with parts of a
them.
song. But no, that was an extremely creative bunch of folks. Michael Nesmith probably is responsible for the filmmaking that they did on their own, not the TV show,
Yeah.
because that was the fellow that did Midnight Special and whatnot. Was it Don Kirshner or
I think
I'm not. I
so.
can't really remember the name of the producer of their show.
I know
But
he was one of those producers.
yeah, and
Uh, there's nothing.
Red Skelton was a painter
Was
and a
it George
clown.
Slatter?
George Slater.
Yeah.
I can't remember how he wants his name pronounced.
Alright.
Or I might be confusing two different people whose last name is spelled similarly but pronounced
Yeah.
different. Captain Kangaroo was a clown. Uh,
Yeah.
very famous one at that. Uh, and I often wonder if he actually guest starred on the episode of Happy Days that his clown
Burt
character,
Sugarman.
Bert
Production.
Sugarman. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, you know, Phil Graham was a promoter, but he was also a band manager.
Hmm.
And because he was a promoter, he liked bands with short names.
Can fit more of them
So
on a poster.
so he's responsible for putting together Asia, which had uh,
Folks from several
Carl
different
Palmer,
bands. Yeah, that was a super group right there.
Steve Howe, Jeff Downs of the Buggles, and John Wetton of King Crimson.
And occasionally Greg Lake of Emerson, Lake and Palmer,
Yes,
and
and
King Crimson.
yes, and John Wetton and Jeff Downs. Because life, various other projects, and sometimes disagreements between internal members. Jeff Downs and John Wetton had a project called Icon, which they did several albums.
I recalled that, but I can't remember any details.
But they eventually got back together, and it was It was wonderful seeing. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see John Wetton perform live when I saw them a few years ago. But Carl Palmer is in amazingly good shape, and he can still play the hell out of some skins.
Mm-hmm.
And they had, I believe, Trevor Horn of the Buggles playing bass for
Mm-hmm.
them. But Jeff Downs was there, and I
Oh,
believe Steve Howe was playing guitar for him.
Rick Wakeman's doing another tour here.
Yeah. I'm not sure which version of the band he's with because John Anderson keeps going back and forth between Steve Howe and Trevor Rabin, and it's hard to tell who he's with at the
No, I
moment.
mean, I mean, Rick's doing a solo tour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Um, Another grumpy old rock star, I think it's called.
Oh man, did you see his Hall of Fame speech?
I don't believe I did. No, but if
Oh
you did,
my,
please tell me about it because I'm a big fan.
oh my God, he was actually kind of silly. He was talking about when you get older, have all your parts and stuff inspected, because things start trying to fall apart and all, and you need to make sure all your parts are working properly. And he was kind of blubbering on. It was actually pretty damn funny.
Yeah, he had some heart trouble here several years back, and I'm glad
Well,
that he managed to survive it.
I don't think he was just talking about the heart. I think he was talking about some of the lower extremities as well.
Have you ever seen Listomania?
I don't believe I have. I might have heard of it.
Okay. Um, the lead singer for The Who
Hmm.
was one of the main characters.
Roger Daltrey.
Yep. And Rick Wakeman was in one particular scene playing an early version of Thor, so to speak.
Oh wow.
And it turned out to be one of the funniest scenes in the movie because what you think you see on screen actually happened while they were filming that scene. So
Oh
uh,
wow.
it was not part of it was a special effect, but part of the rest of it was, let's say, that was a very interesting prosthetic that was being used for a realistic purpose. And
Oh
yes,
wow.
the fire did go out. Uh,
Wow. Um.
Too much beer that day. Um,
Hmm. Um. Actually, there was another film I remember. Roger Daltrey having a brief part in. Um. Did you ever see the movie If Looks Could Kill?
no, I don't think I have.
It's actually a pretty funny movie. It has um Richard Greco, who was in Booker and 21 Jump Street, young actor. It was kind of hot at the time. He plays a high school student that's going on a trip to Europe, trip to France with his French class, and he gets mistaken for a spy. So he's having to do spy work and it's got Roger Rees as a slick uh, mastermind. It's using a official position as a means to promote his own goals of world domination.
Uh huh.
And you know that I believe her name's Linda Hunt. She's kind of a diminutive actress, but she played on NCIS Los Angeles as the little short lady.
Uh huh.
And she played the Fremen housekeeper in the '86 version of Dune, the one that Paul
Yeah.
saves from the dart. Yeah, well, she's kind of like his stepmother slash guardian, and she has a necklace that she can turn into like a whip.
Oh, good grief.
Oh, it's cheesy, but God, it's glorious fun cheesy. And Gabrielle Anwar is his uh, love interest in it, and she's actually the daughter of the agent Roger Daltrey plays.
Oh, Roger Daltrey was in. He played an alien villain in Lois and Clark.
Okay.
The
And
Dean.
obviously, he was in Tommy and Quadrophenia.
Oh yes, well that was a given. Oh, here's one that I remembered just off the top of my head. There's a film called Into the Night from 1985,
Jeff
and
Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum, Michelle Pfeiffer,
Mm-hmm.
and
Very
David
cool
Bowie was a
title track.
hitman. Yeah, very
Undoubtedly.
cool soundtrack, and it was a lot of it included stuff by BB King.
Yeah, BB King did the title track. Yeah.
That was I watched that and I thought, good Lord, David Bowie could be one terribly frightening psychopathic serial killer hitman in this. I mean, it's like, oh well, it seems you escaped my wrath this time, but I'll get you the next time.
Oh, there. Speaking of cheesy and gloriously funny, did you ever see the movie PCU?
No, I can't say that I have. I don't believe I've ever
It
heard of it.
it 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 stands for politically correct university. And David Spade is this
Oh Lord.
whiny, snipey prep boy that's kind of like the pet of the administration,
So
and
typecasting. Uh,
and yeah, and the guy from Entourage, Jeremy Piven, is like the head of this fraternity, and they're trying to throw a party to save their fraternity because the university's putting the squeeze on them rent wise and probation wise and all that stuff. And John Favreau plays one of the guys in the frat, and he's supposed to go find a band for their party, and he's like having all sorts of trouble. Well, as luck would have it, he stumbles across a broke down tour bus, and who of all people are on it but George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic?
oh my, that would be a fun party. Let me tell you.
Oh my! And now it is so funny.
Oh Lord, people do not nowadays. People would not really understand what was going on with that band or those bands because there seemed to be like three different iterations of them. But
And Bootsy Collins is still alive. God bless him. He still posts.
oh Lord, good, yes, good.
I haven't seen any for a little while, but he was still posting into last year. I know. Uh, he kind of got a little bit of a boost to his career when Delight did their song "Groove Is in the Heart," and he does a bass riff for the song, and he's at the beginning of the video. I think he's at the very end of it. But Delight's a very unusual band. They had a red-headed psychedelic lead singer, lady Miss Diana Keir, I think's her name. If it's real or not, I don't know. She's kind of got a Russian uh, Asian boyfriend, and then there's an Asian in the band that's kind of like the DJ and techno wizard of the band. And the music for it, they play at the end of Stupid O'Clock or when it's near the end of the show.
Yeah.
It's kind of got that vibe for it. If you've never heard Groove is in the Heart, I'm sure you have. It probably just been a while.
Yeah. Probably just
It was real big in the early '90s.
I might not have known the name of what it was I was listening to because I went through a lot of that through the years until I finally learned the lesson that I should read the credits on the albums.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
it took me a long time because there were a lot of things that there were people in that I would have known, but I didn't pay any attention.
I gotta give away one of the funniest scenes of PCU. Um, David Spade and the faculty get trapped in this room. They get locked in, and they've hid the stereo where they can't get at the controls, and they've got Starlight Vocal Band's "Afternoon Delight" on repeat. And they're after 24 hours, they're about ready to kill somebody.
I keep waiting for a meme of McDowell strapped in the chair at the end of Clockwork Orange with his eyelids propped open and
Mm,
the propaganda playing,
hmm
and it's um, one of those god awful songs instead of what was actually being used. It's one of those god awful '80s songs. One of those god awful '80s bands, or probably '90s, because it was the
hmm
MTV era that I'm thinking of. But something just absolutely
hmm
hideous and on infinite repeat on MTV that you just got so tired of it you could not stand it. Oh Lord.
Well,
I could put a name to it, but it would not be whatever it was that I actually prompted the
yeah.
idea. It would be a impromptu sort of fill in thing. But
Well, one of the things my mom used to like listening to was the WSB morning show with Dale O'Brien was
hmm
doing it. And I came up with this skit. One of the things of the punishment was being locked in a room for, I don't know if it's 24 or 48 hours, but left watching nothing but Tom Park's Atlanta Toyota commercials. That was the torture.
oh Lord, there was another one I heard about is somebody was forced to watch an infinite repeat of War of the Roses, the comedy about some couple getting a divorce.
Oh, Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner.
Yes, yes,
That,
indeed.
that was a hellacious movie. It was funny and disturbing at the same time. That's not
Yeah,
always easy to pull off.
no, no. Now I really love them in the Romancing the
Romancing the
Stone,
Stone.
Jewel of the Nile.
Yep.
Those really, although I do have to admit, when I took my first wife to see Romancing or Jewel of the Nile in the theater when it was new,
Mm.
I kept using writer logic and coming up with the next line, and she thought that I had seen the movie with some other woman before.
No.
And
Well, there's some things that are formulaic and not
well, I mean,
predictable.
the same thing happened with Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I kept predicting the next lines accurately, and she thought once again I'd been out fooling around with some woman and took her to see this movie. And I'm going to go, honey, if I'm not with you, I'm at work.
Did you
You
predict the
can.
line where he's like, $100 says cameras are sitting in his car waiting on whether to come or not?
Mm, oh, the big thing was it at the end during the end credits,
Hmm.
and he wanders out in the house coat, goes, "What? You're still here? Movie's over."
Go home.
Yeah, I predicted every line of that.
Hmm.
And I had never seen the movie before.
The ironic thing is Matthew Broderick is nowhere near that cool in real life, but that's why he's a good actor.
Well, yeah. Um,
And Biloxi Blues, the movie with him and Christopher Walken, that was so. And the funny thing is, Christopher Walken can play anything. He can do a serious role. He can do quirky. He
mhm,
can do quirky funny, quirky strange. He can also do disturbingly bad guy.
mhm. Uh,
I know the movie what didn't do that well, but at close range, he did disturbingly bad pretty good.
Nick Cage has the same sort of range, but nobody gives him credit for it. They just want him to be crazy all the time.
Well, he's just like he's a lot like Dennis Hopper. He kind of plays more or less a slight variation of the same role.
Hmm. Pretty much, he plays himself, and they just either let him chew the carpet or stick to the script.
Yeah.
One or the other. And then there doesn't seem to be any middle ground, but
Mm.
depending on the script, he can do an awful lot.
Now, a movie that I liked that I thought was underrated that he did was Drive Angry,
Hmm.
which interestingly has Amber Heard in it.
Hmm.
And Amber's one of those gals you're attracted to, but when you figure out what her personality's like, you don't know if it's worth the trouble.
If you got to figure it out, the answer is no.
Yeah,
It's a hard no.
yeah.
If
But
what you
she
see
is
is
pretty to
not
look
what
at.
you get, then the answer is no.
Yeah, but she is pretty to look upon. Ain't no doubt about it. But I like the guy that's a character actor, William Fickner. He's the
Mhm.
one that was charged with going after Nicolas Cage in that movie. If you've seen it,
The name does not ring any bells. I'm sorry.
um, he was one of the shuttle pilots in Armageddon.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't Marshall T, which is the big muscular black haired guy. He's the brown haired guy that piloted the other shuttle. He's been in a few other films. Like, he's a really good character actor. He doesn't always get the biggest parts, but he always does a
Hey,
good job of what
character
he's doing.
actors don't get the biggest parts most of the time.
But they make a film inherently better.
Yeah, look at William H. Macy. He's fantastic, but he doesn't get the lead roles.
No,
He gets supporting roles, and he makes them into fantastic supporting roles. But
well, it's like Kat Dennings. She doesn't get the lead roles most of the time. Well, she did in Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, but she steals every scene she's in.
mhm.
She's hilarious in the Thor movies. The first two, I don't think she was in the third. She
Mm,
might have been. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen the third
yeah, it's been quite a while. I've been rewatching some of the last bits of the last few
one.
of those, and then some of the newer ones that have come out that are kind of hard to fit in the continuity because they came out after big events that it makes them have to happen earlier. Otherwise, they couldn't happen at all. And there's other stuff coming out that fits
Yeah.
into that. Oh, I've got some friends that are really excited about the Moon Knight movie that's coming out, or is it a TV series? I don't really remember anymore.
Mm, the new what movie?
Moon Knight,
Oh yeah. Um,
because I had those comic books from issue one,
yeah.
and I probably had the first 50 to 100 issues.
Are you
And that, go right ahead.
are you familiar with the author Kimberly Richardson?
She was my editor on my Spaceport Bar stories.
Okay, well, she's a big Moon Knight fan, if I
Okay.
remember correctly. And
I, well, I
I
could.
thought I remembered seeing a story where something bad had befallen the actor that played him.
No, that one of the supporting actors uh, died in an accident.
Okay,
Yeah, it was
that's what it was.
one of the other crew, not the main character, not the title
Okay.
character, but
Well, um, I kind of like. I didn't see the third one yet. I haven't watched it yet, but I kind of like.
no. Oh, I've got to make a correction. Kimberly Richardson is on my friends list on Facebook. She was not my editor for the Spaceport Bar stories. I'm sorry. I've met her at conventions several times. She's an acquaintance I'm very familiar with, but
Yeah,
I had her confused with another lady that was actually my editor for the Spaceport Bar stories, Lori Titus.
I'm sure she'll forgive you. I mean,
Well, I hope
we
so.
we, we all we all have those moments.
I hate when I conflate two different people that I know.
Well, hell, Dan, everybody's done it at one point in time. If they
Hey,
haven't, they're bound to at some point. I mean, it generally
I'd
happens.
claim it was a senior moment, but no, I've always been like that. I can't keep people straight in my head half the time.
Well, it's called being human, Dan. We're all human. You know, we make little missteps. You know, we try to correct them as quickly as possible and painlessly as possible. And I think people, for the most part, know when we're sincere about it and when we're just spouting BS.
Hmm. Now I do know Kimberly has got not only her tea merchant stuff coming out, but she's
Hmm.
also written some rather disturbing horror stories that have been well
Yeah,
received.
and I think she's got the isn't the Goth Librarian series
Yep,
or
yep, yep. Uh, that's one of the earliest ones that I was introduced to her work. Um,
in fact, I think Hallowcon was the first time I got introduced to her.
she used to come to Anachrocon from time
Mhm.
to time, back when that was a big thing.
Yeah,
And I don't know for sure if she's ever come to LibertyCon, but
I
it's
think she might
entirely
have
possible.
attended one. I
It's
don't
entirely
think
possible.
that's really her crowd because
Um,
it's more of a science fiction crowd than anything. I mean, it's not to say the other authors can't succeed there or do well
yeah.
there, but
Well, it's very Bane book centric.
yes, it is
There
definitely a
are
main focus.
a gracious surplusage of Bane authors at Liberty, and there are a lot of authors from other publishing houses as
Hmm.
well,
Yeah,
both commercial and independent.
but
Uh,
like I said, it is a big science fiction centric, especially hard science fiction.
mhm. And horror is one of the more fantasy sort of genres.
Yeah,
So yeah, uh,
and like I said, it's not to say that they haven't, because that what is it, Shadar horror
yeah,
series,
yep.
uh, they've done well there.
Hmm.
Um,
I've
I have
reviewed a
seen some
couple of
of those.
those. Um, I can't remember if I have been asked to contribute to that, but I had to turn it down because I didn't want to have to go back and uh, read through everything in order to get
Yeah,
the mythology and the background and the world building, so that I wouldn't screw it up.
yeah.
Uh, and
Horror isn't
I've
really
got my
my
own stuff.
yeah.
So,
Horror isn't really my in my wheelhouse. Uh,
mine either. Occasionally, there are some things that I will I will delve into that as a genre choice, but they're few and far between.
yeah,
Um, it really is not my cup of tea, but occasionally, you know,
but
I
I
I
understand.
like my tea bitter and dark. So
Yeah. Well, I know there are a number of passionate, fervent fans of horror,
hmm
and I have nothing against that. I mean, I think everybody should be able to have access to stories and the genres that they prefer.
hmm
And for the most part, I think fiction is well represented in most environments and genres and subgenres. I still think there's way more nonfiction out there than there is fiction.
well, there always will be.
And there are people that surprisingly do not like fiction of any kind.
This is true.
And, like I said, everybody's different. And, I'm glad that for the most part, there's something out there for everyone. You just have to
Well, there
be able to
should be
find it.
something out there for
Yes, there should be.
yeah.
And
That's
I'm
the
glad
beauty.
there is.
That's the beauty of literature. You're not stuck with one specific genre that gets pushed by every publishing house and nothing else is allowed. No, no. There's should be and there must be room for every interest whatsoever, whether it appeals to you or me or the guy on the street corner or the lady that's at the crosswalk for in the uniform to, getting the school kids across the road so safely.
Mhm.
You know, everybody should have something that they can be fanatic about. Just
Yeah.
absolutely love to distraction, and
And
it
have
doesn't. It does.
plenty available.
Yeah, everybody should have room for that thing that they just absolutely love, and nobody has to love the same thing.
Yeah. Be it books, music, or movies.
hmm
And it's interesting. There there are novels of certain types that I don't normally particularly care for,
hmm
but every now and then I will run across something that is in a subgenre that I don't normally care for that I really like.
Yeah.
I am very particular about time travel, you know, transportation from one area to another via, whatever medium.
hmm
There are some stories that I like that have done it in a way that I found rather creative, inventive, and enjoyable. And there's others that's just like, and there's some historical speculative fiction that I enjoy and some that I don't.
hmm Yep. I know. I feel exactly the same way. I'm going to have to step away. I'll be right back. Just vamp for a couple of minutes, and
Okay.
we'll pick it up and keep right on going.
Sounds like a plan to me. Well, if any of you are still with us or watching on the replay, glad you were here with us on Last Man Standing. Believe it or not, I'm not the last man standing. Dan had to step away for a few moments, and he will be back shortly. In the meantime, we've been talking about music, and we've been talking about books and comics and films and all sorts of various entertainment, and talking about stuff that particularly interests us, and musicians that were more than just known for one thing. We discussed Michael Nesmith and how he was one of the first people to do a music video, and that he was good at writing songs and contributing to the Monkeys phenomenon. And we talked about drummers that could sing. Phil Collins, Kelly Kagi of Night Ranger, and Dean Castronovo of Journey and various other projects, and the drummer for the Romantics, singing lead on a few things. Roger Taylor singing some lead on some Queen songs, and the soon to be Moon Knight movie was briefly mentioned. Also, some TV shows, and some authors in various genres and what have you and whatnot. I was
You,
basically giving a review of the stuff that we've talked about for those just joining in or possibly catching us on a replay.
you mentioned that you are very particular about the kind of time travel stories that you were interested in. Could you enlighten me as to the ones you prefer and the ones that you would prefer not to encounter again?
Well, I have a lot of. I will. One comes to mind that I particularly enjoyed. The series hasn't finished because the author found other projects that he was interested in. He also runs a small publishing house. The author is Steven Zimmer. The series was the Chronicles of Ave or Avenue, or it's AVE. And basically, these young adults and older teenagers happen to be outside, and this mist is on the edge of town, and they walk in it, and they're transported to another time, another planet.
Mhm.
And it's kind of a fantasy story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was well done. Um, Ones I have a little bit of issue with when you have like 20th century sent back to Roman times, and or vice versa. The Romans are sent ahead to the 20th century. That's not to say they're not enjoyable for some people. The thing doesn't. I don't find it as appealing as some might,
Mm.
and that's not a knock on the authors or their ideas or anything. It just doesn't really appeal to me as much. I guess I kind of like the stuff where there's not an overwhelming technological superiority one group brought into another world, or an inferiority of another group brought into another world in time.
Yeah, I believe I'm familiar with stuff like that. That
And like I said, that's not to say there's anything wrong with it. It just doesn't appeal to me. I
and
guess I kind of like the more uh, fairly balanced, but maybe the scales get tipped a little bit one way or the other, where it seems more interesting to me, where something's just totally outmatched and outclassed and outgunned.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the authors come up with a way to make it a little more balanced, but
Oh yeah.
like
I
I
mean,
said, that much of a discrepancy from the start just does not appeal to me.
yeah. What was the movie? The one about the USS Nimitz going back to Pearl Harbor.
Oh,
They
the Philadelphia experiment.
was that what it was?
I thought it was, but it might have been another one.
The aircraft carrier that goes
Yeah,
back to
I know the one you're talking about. I don't know if that's the exact title of it or not.
Philadelphia experiment is um, more like Hangar 18. Um, the Eldridge was a not a battleship. I can't remember the exact class of ship, but it wasn't big, wasn't huge, but had some equipment on it, and the equipment malfunctioned,
All
and it
right, Philadelphia experiment film. United States destroyer escort participates in Navy invisibility experiment that inadvertently sends two sailors 40 years in the future.
yep. We might be talking about Final Countdown, but
Yeah, I think that's the one you're talking about. I'm gonna
yeah,
look that
I mean,
up.
you got a fully nuclear armed and nuclear powered aircraft carrier
Yeah. That's it. This is the
sent back
final countdown.
to Pearl Harbor, and they've got a definite technological
Oh
superiority
yeah,
there.
you talking about changing world events?
Yeah,
It's
and then the writers had to hobble it so that history happened
yeah,
the way it was supposed to happen.
yeah. Well, that's one of those things that it's not that big of a time jump, even though the technological jump is significant.
Hmm.
I would have had a harder time with that being done, say, Revolutionary War
Yeah.
or Spanish Armada time.
Mm.
Um,
Well,
I will tell you another series that I enjoyed that I thought was well done that took someone from then present day back to another world. Are you familiar with the Reluctant Swordsman series?
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've actually had a chance to read any of it.
It is a fantasy series that I really enjoyed, and I have a thing about fantasy novels. I will read them and I like them, but I love them if they have maps included with them.
Mm.
This doesn't have a map, but it's fairly well described, so you could kind of make one in your head.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because they have these people that are born with marks above their eyebrows that denotes their parentage. And there's various guilds and classes, and they have levels within each
Hmm.
classification. Well, the seventh level is usually the highest level of each class, and they are blue belts. There's swordsmen, there's merchants, and This guy is dying of cancer, and I don't mind telling this because this is the first part of the first book. There's a god from another world that takes his soul and spirit and mind and all that and puts him in the body of someone who he has plans for doing something in that world.
Mm-hmm.
The one that he put him in was chosen and did things in a way the god did not approve of, and he failed. But the god saved his body and basically put this guy that's dying of cancer in this healthy body.
So kind of a Freaky Friday sort of thing.
And he has to figure out what in the hell he's supposed to do. And it's interesting because there's intrigue and there's certain symbols for castes and classes that, for lack of a better term, are persona non grata,
Yeah,
an
untouchable.
outcast. And he only has one symbol above one eyebrow, the other one's missing.
Sounds like there could be a social problem there.
And but he's also a swordsman of the seventh rank, and unless another seventh rank challenges you, you really don't go get challenged by anybody. They might not like it, but there ain't a whole heck of a lot they can do about it.
Maybe try it and die.
Yeah.
Oh, you said you like maps. Let me see if this will work. There we go.
Oh, nice. Sorry. I ain't bothered to take the camera because nobody's watching at the moment. And if anybody watches on the replay, I apologize. Like I said, I wasn't expecting any viewers.
I've had that thing going for quite a while. That is a black and white Xerox of the original color map that I did way back in the day, and uh, there's basically 11,000 years of written history that goes with that map,
Oh, wow.
um, plus all the prehistory, the myths and legends that the different people that live there have, and it goes on and on and on and on, and that is also the same planet that the spaceport bar is on.
Awesome.
So you've got the one big city the size of West Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like New York and Tokyo and London and Cairo and Paris all shoved into one city. It's about the size of West Virginia,
Hmm.
and almost nowhere else on the planet is extraterrestrial technology allowed,
Oh,
by
wow.
and punishable by death
Hmm.
for introducing it. The natives are supposed to develop on their own.
Yeah. So it's kind of like Prime Directive slide.
Very much so. And this was I came up with that a long time before Next Generation came up, and didn't really pay that much attention to the Prime Directive and original series Trek because they
Hmm.
didn't seem to pay very much attention to it, except
Well,
except when they decided it needed to be broken. Um,
yeah. Well, it's uh it's one of those deals where I think he was so busy struggling just trying to get each show on the air each week because
yeah,
the networks were fighting him, and
Nobody wants to see
Even
that
as
Buck Rogers shit.
and
Yeah,
even though he had Lucille Ball championing him, um, the ratings, and eventually, even if you're Lucille Ball at the height of your popularity, there comes a point when even you can't save something if it's not doing well in the ratings.
yep. If it ain't selling soap, it ain't going on the air much longer. Yeah, if
And
you can't sell commercial ad time, you're doomed.
but she championed it long enough for it to get enough episodes to run in the syndication that
And syndication is what made it.
yep. And I don't remember the episodes names, but the one where Frank Gorswin played the uh, guy that had the black and white face on one side, and the other guy was the other race that had the black and white on the opposite sides of the ones that he had. Was
The
one of my
title
favorites.
is Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, and I cannot remember who the writer was. Um, Original series Trek was outstanding in its time for actually hiring science fiction writers to do
Yeah,
the scripts.
yeah. I know Harlan Ellison wrote some episodes.
And,
Also,
yep,
the one I can't remember the one. It's the one that's got the guy that they find the holy papers, which happens to be the Constitution of the United States.
yeah, Omega Glory is the name of
Yeah,
that one. And Roddenberry wrote that.
yeah. And what was the other one? Of course, City on the Edge of Forever.
That was Arlen.
And those are the ones that really stand. I mean, I like a number of the other ones too, but those were probably my three favorites. And I actually like the Chris Pine Star Trek movies.
There.
They weren't great, but they weren't terrible either, in my opinion. I love Chekhov. Chekhov made those movies,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
I thought Simon Pegg did a respectable job as Scotty.
Mm,
It
I
wasn't
would,
great, but it was respectable.
I would say that I would have far less of a problem with those three movies if they weren't supposed to be the Enterprise and the classic Trek crew. If they had been just a different Federation ship with a different Federation crew,
Hmm.
it would have been incredible. Except for redoing um, Space Seed. I mean,
Well,
you,
Cumberbatch was totally wrong for that role. I,
yeah, he wasn't uh, Middle Asian. Basically, was what the role was. Even though it was a originally acted by somebody from very Western Europe, or
well, Ricardo was passionate and intense,
yeah.
and Cumberbatch did as intense as well as Cumberbatch can do intense, but the passionate he can't pull it off the way Ricardo or somebody like him could.
Mm,
And that was my fault with it. Like I said, I haven't watched the third one. I own it. I haven't had a chance to watch it because life and other stuff. And you also know that there has to be a difference between the various productions, and that's in the legal contracts for it, which is kind of one of the problems with the whole thing is that
I
they
know.
had to do the Kelvin timeline anyway.
Yep, I know. But like I said, it would have been a whole lot easier to accept if it had
Yeah,
been, you know, Lexington instead of Enterprise
yeah,
and Lexington's crew or whatever, fill in the blank. Just not trying to
yeah.
redo the original series.
Well,
Uh,
one of the things I like about what I understand about the Batman movie is they're not trying to redo an origin story again.
it's about damn time.
I mean, there comes a point where, like, if you don't know the origin by now, go back and read it.
Really.
Same thing about Spider Man. There's no point in redoing an origin story. If you
Mhm.
don't know it by now, you ain't going to.
There has been enough versions of an origin story for lots of characters out there where you really don't need to waste time retelling the same thing over again. Just write a good story with a
And go
character
from
that
there.
people already know,
And go from
and then
there.
just let it go. Let it just flow. Make it a good movie. You
I,
don't have to tell how the hero got to be the hero, especially if it's an old enough character to where 3, 4, 5 generations already know the origin story.
yeah, I don't know why, but I think, my personal opinion, I think Tom Holland does the best Spider Man.
Mm,
I mean, Toby did okay, and Andrew Garfield, what little I've seen, did good as well. But Tom Holland just seems to pull off the quirkiness, the anxiety, all the stuff from the comic book series that uh, I remember and was so fond of growing up. That's not
you
to say the others didn't do good jobs, and I didn't enjoy those to a certain extent.
oh
Although the strutting
I've been
scene with Toby Maguire doesn't, that
oh
was rough to watch.
well that was part of the Venom storyline. So
Yeah,
yeah, basically you can make the argument he was possessed by a demon at the time.
yeah.
Um, but that doesn't make it any easier to
To sit through.
yeah. Um, Now you remember the Spider-Man TV series from the was it the 70s?
Are you talking about the animated one, or are you talking about the movies that they did?
The live action
I actually
series.
enjoyed those.
I did too, but they never let the Spider-Man character in the suit make the smart-ass remarks that he would have been making all along,
Oh yeah,
and
but
all the actual challenges, all the actual fight scenes were too short and too easy. It's
yeah.
like, oh well, let me web this bugger up and I'll go off and have a cup of tea.
I also like the Captain America movies with Red Brown in them, or Rob Brown in them.
I have seen all of those. Matter of fact, I saw all of those when they were first uh, put on TV. The motorcycle helmet was a bit much to get used to.
Well, yeah, but I mean, for the time, I mean,
For
it
the
was decent,
time, yeah.
and
Well,
I
look,
know.
with the original Linda Carter Wonder Woman, they actually put it back in World War II,
Hmm.
but they made it corny as all get out,
And then they jumped to the head.
and then they jumped the shark or jumped it ahead. Um, Same thing. And
Yeah,
Lyle
but
Wagner was still there, only he was playing his own grandson or whatever.
well, all I know is that Linda Carter made that show, and she's still a beauty to this day. And it wasn't just the fact that she was beautiful to look upon. I mean, she did a really good job with that
Yes,
role.
she did. I mean, she's a good actress. She
And
really.
Cloris Leachman played her mother,
Yes, I know. I
and
know.
Deborah Winger played her little sister.
Hmm.
Um, I know a lot of people didn't care for it, but I thought Lee Ferrigno was a great choice for a live action Hulk because he was probably one of the biggest human beings they could have gotten for that role.
Back in the day, yes,
Yeah.
indeed. And
And I enjoyed Rex Smith playing Matt Murdock in Daredevil.
hmm
And the TV movie they did where Eric Allen Kramer played Thor, I liked him as Thor. I thought he did good at it. And he was a big bodybuilder actor type. The guy that played the guy that found the hammer and controlled him was a little bit lame and kind of
the
hastily written, but
the script was not as good as the actors that were in the
yes.
parts.
And you can't fault the actors when they're given a shit script to try and make a sandwich out of.
Yes, and I find myself thinking that lots of times when there's absolutely fabulous actors in an absolutely wonderful part, and they're given a crappy script,
Yeah.
and they can't do any better than the script allows.
I will tell you a great example of that. That even the actor that played him poked fun at him, but I thought he did a really good job. Was the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds in it?
Ryan Reynolds, yes,
That
I love that movie. I love
the
that movie.
problem
The
is,
script was not good.
yeah, and the thing is, they did okay with him and his character, but the bad guys were poorly written, and the government
Was poorly
agents and
written. Yeah.
scientists were. I mean, that is some of the lamest, quickest thrown together bucket
Yes.
of excrement thrown on a wall that you could
Hmm.
possibly come up with.
Um,
I mean, yeah, they're not supposed to be that smart, but they ain't supposed to be that damn dumb and incompetent either.
really, if they were
And
that
I
incompetent, they'd have never got to the rank that they had.
and I thought Parallax was written poorly,
Very,
and
yes, and
the concept about him was done poorly. I thought Mark Strong played an excellent Sinestro.
yes.
He had the attitude, the kind of sneer, the bombastic. I'm better than
He
you, and
had
I
the
know it.
body language down.
Yes, and Michael Duncan
He was
Clark as
living that
Kilowog.
character. Yeah,
I mean,
I can't imagine a better one.
and and oh my God, Jeffrey Rush as Tomar Ray.
Hmm.
I mean, come on.
It had so much going for it. And then when it got to what was supposed to be the story, the conflict,
Hmm.
the bad guy, they shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, and a lot of people forgot that Hal Jordan was a hotshot test pilot.
A hotshot smartass, yeah,
Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds was perfect for that. He played it perfect.
yeah, exactly.
And I hate the fact that he's giving
I hate the
himself
fact
up the
he
road.
dislikes the movie.
Did what now?
I hate the fact that Ryan Reynolds dislikes the movie
Well,
because
he
he
just
did a great job.
yes, he did an awesome job of it. But like I said, you can't save a script that's a shit sandwich.
Yeah. Um,
And it wasn't his. And he did an awesome job, and the characters in that movie did an awesome job. If Parallax was written poorly, the guy that Parallax
Possessed.
possesses was poorly written
Hmm.
and just really lamely acted.
You know, if they
But
had,
like I said, you given a script that's
if the same character had not been turned into the bad guy,
mm-hmm,
he'd have been a very, very good character.
mm-hmm,
But you have to make him the ultimate evil for that particular movie.
yeah.
Did not work. The script did not make it work. Did not let it work.
And I hate to see the talents of those actors wasted. Lynn Whitfield is a very good actress and a strong woman. And she's smarter than that damn scientist was portrayed.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. She
Oh,
wasn't.
okay. Sticking with Ryan Reynolds, the X Men Origins Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Before they actually screwed the character up in the end scenes there,
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Reynolds as the Merc with the Mouth, the future Deadpool,
Mm-hmm.
was spot on. I mean, absolutely perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go, okay, let's sew his mouth shut
Yeah, but that was just because the guy
and
in
give him
charge of the
all the
program.
powers of all the X Men. And I'm going, who the fuck thought this is a good idea?
Yeah. Well, that's before they got the idea of the MCU and having everything tied together and formed. That was one of the best
It
things that
was,
happened
yeah,
to
it was
Marvel.
supposed to be like a one off, and it was supposed to be, well, a Wolverine origin story, which, all in all, it was fairly good at that particular angle.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of background characters that should have been given more to work with.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the entire team that was there should have been given something better.
Yeah.
Really, they deserved something better than what they
Yeah.
actually wound up with. And I can
Yeah.
see why not only Ryan Reynolds but most of the fans are really pissed off about the way that was uh, carried out to what the studio wanted as the end.
Yeah.
But
And I think eventually at a certain point the studio's also like don't really care, just get this damn thing out there so we can start making money and selling tickets on it.
we've got this toy line already laid out here that we can make money off of. We don't care how many people see the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
I will tell you another instance where Mark Strong was wasted because the studio did not support the film. Uh, John Carter of Mars.
I was about to bring that up actually as a damn good movie that the studio shit canned from the get go. They did not advertise that it was even being made, much less was in a theater.
Yep. And that movie was very well done.
It was,
And Lynn Collins as Deja Thors.
I absolutely love that movie. But you've got to be a real fan to find it.
And not only that, you have you have to know about the author because the scene at the end ties everything together.
Well, I know that, but
I
Um,
know, but you know, like I said, not everybody
it's
knows.
well,
And it's funny, Cowboys
it,
and Aliens did well. You would have thought that it would have done well.
uh-huh. Um, Edgar Rice Burroughs, Tarzan. You know,
Yeah, I
you
know.
got this guaranteed thing here. Just market it correctly.
And that's another
The
thing
movie
too.
was made. The movie was made very, very well. Market it correctly.
And they didn't put any support behind it. They
No,
didn't
they
put
didn't.
any
They didn't.
advertising behind it, and any marketing behind it.
It's like, oh, uh, we're going to treat this like a $2 Roger Corman movie.
I mean, you have one of the hottest young actors around in the title role. You had Mark Strong, which is another one of the best character actors around. I mean,
The
he's got
special effects were good.
yes,
The costumes were good. The world building was good. The story was good. And here you don't bother to tell anybody that you've actually done it.
yeah.
It's like
I I wish they would
springtime for
re.
Hitler. We need to take a loss on this one so we can claim a tax break. I'm going,
I wish they would re-release it in the studios and put money behind it.
yeah. Unfortunately, somebody's going to have to buy the damn studio that made it in order to get that done.
Either that, or the head of the studio needs to change, and they need to bring in some new people that actually have the
Brains.
sense to do something like that and brains to do something like that.
Um, there's a lot of things that have been done over the years that have been a case of, oh, this is hot right now. Let's see if we can make a version of that.
Oh yeah.
And then they go, oh, well, we don't really understand what it is or believe in it, so we're not going to really try and tell anybody we did this.
I'll tell you another series that wasn't long lived, but I really enjoyed was Space Above and Beyond.
I thought that had possibilities. I really did.
Yeah.
I really did. I watched all of it.
I
I,
mean,
I wanted it to be much better than what it turned out to be, but once again, I believe that was the scripts were not
yeah. Well,
ideal.
they had some very good episodes. The Angriest Angel was one of my favorites. Um, I don't know if that was the name of the show or not, but the one that had Chiggy von Richthofen in it,
Hmm.
the ace Chig pilot,
Hmm.
and then the one that had the guy that gets given the control over the 58th
Hmm.
and is trying to avenge his former squadron and plays the Johnny Cash song "Ring of Fire."
Uh-huh.
Those were probably my favorite episodes, and of course the ones that had certain attractive actress that was better known at the time for doing adult movies.
Tracy Lords, yeah.
No, this one was Ashlyn Gear.
Oh, okay.
I
No,
later found out.
Tracy Lords did some serious stuff later on.
Yeah,
Uh,
she was in
in,
Third Wave, if I'm not mistaken.
in another thing, she was. Oh, was it the sequel to Black Mask? Um, she did a great part. She did her best,
Yeah. I
but
also think she was on the short-lived Smokey and the Bandit TV series.
okay, don't remember that. Must have been
Or
very short lived.
Early 90s, I'm wanting to say 92, somewhere in there.
Oh, that might have been the time when I did not own a TV set.
Hmm.
There were several years between college and a couple years into my first marriage that
Hmm.
I I listened to the radio. I played my records, and I was in the garage band, and I didn't really have time for much TV.
Yeah. Um, that reminds me of another. I love quirky, funny, screwball kind of comedies.
Hmm.
Have you ever watched How I Got into College?
No, no.
Well, there was this son of a famous director. I don't remember the father's name, but the son was Savage Steve Holland, and he did a lot of the early Fox Network TV shows.
Hmm.
And I believe he directed this one. It is hilarious because it's got Anthony Edwards when he still had hair,
Okay.
Charles Rocket, who is famous for getting fired from SNL for saying the F bomb on TV. Um, Queen Kong makes an appearance in the movie. The female wrestler that's like 6'2" and 200 and 40 or 50 pounds.
Okay.
Um, and it's got Dan Hartman and Nora Dunn from Saturday Night Live, and they're playing these consultants that are giving him advice on how to get to college, and of course collecting paychecks every time that he has a session with them.
Hmm.
And these two screwball guys that are um, in the word problems and the imaginary tests that he's doing, and they've got ticking time bombs, and if he doesn't answer the question right or in enough time, they blow up. And they keep it is so cheesy and funny. It's actually got a good soundtrack in it.
Oh, good soundtrack. Off in left field. Um, Rock and Roll High School
Yep.
with the Ramones.
Yep.
And I can't remember the little girl's name that played the teenager in high school.
PJ Souls.
Yes, she was
She was also in Stripes.
quite a nice young lady there.
Yeah. Did
Um,
you ever watch the really weird sequel to that?
I didn't know there was a sequel to that. Weird or not,
Yeah. It's got Corey Feldman in it.
that's not a selling point.
And it's got Mary Warrenoff in it.
Don't even know who she is.
And oh, I can't. The
I
actor's name's Paul, but he's a bald headed guy. Did you ever see the movie Eating Raoul?
No, I didn't, but I know about it.
Well, she kind of plays one of these um, S&M domineering school principals, and he's like her vice principal and chief henchman, and they're trying to rebel. And there's this really weird scene where they're in the bathroom and they're about to be given a drug test, and they have applesauce and they pour them into the urine cups as they're taking care of business in the bathrooms. And then they're like giving it to her henchman to do. Wait a second. that's not my pee. And they start drinking it. And he's like, ooh. And he's like, no, that's not my pee either. No, 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 no. Yeah, that's mine. That's mine. And they hand it back to him. And he's just like, ooh.
Hmm.
And then there's a scene where they find an old 50s refrigerator and they do some sort of strange cult dance around it. It's kind of a bad cinema. It's so bad that you have to watch it.
It's like a train wreck. You can't look away.
You
You
might
wish
can
you
look
could,
away,
but you
but there are moments when you can't keep from looking away.
can't. Oh Lord.
Hey, when you're a teenager and early teenager and you're bored and you're stuck at home and it's on TV and there's nothing much else on, you watch it once.
And then regret it for the rest of your life.
Well, it's something you can say you lived through. It's,
It's like
it,
an it's like an asylum movie. You know
well,
it was supposed to be something different, but this is what you got stuck with.
it's like I told you about Alien from LA. Even Kathy Ireland at her hottest, her most beautiful, at her absolute peak of perfection, could not salvage Alien from LA. It was that bad.
you, you would probably be amazed at how many movies there actually have been like that, where it this is so bad, not even famous name can save it. Yeah.
Well,
We're getting on down to the wire here.
yeah, I will tell you this. I did buy a friend who kind of enjoys quirky movies like that a double feature that had Alien from LA and Morons from Outer Space on it. Now, I don't know if his wife let him watch that movie or not,
You were specific in saying you gave this to a friend.
but
Uh,
he enjoys weird stuff like that.
okay. That
You
doesn't make
you
it forgivable.
you have to understand if you have a friend that's into stuff like that, like, here you go, buddy. You shouldn't have told me you liked it.
Yeah. You'll learn better eventually.
Yeah, but he never complained.
All right. Well, we got to say goodnight here.
Yep, it was fun. Thank you, Dan.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I was worried it was going to be like 15 minutes of me trying to vamp and then close the show. Um,
No, I told you I'd be back as soon as I could. I tried to be a
well,
man of my word.
their streaming shows seem to be going the way of the dinosaur, actually, as far as viewing audiences are concerned now. The plague is not over, but everybody thinks it is. So,
Hopefully, the worst of it is behind us.
yeah, well, um, we had a good couple of years there where people were a captive audience, and now they're no longer captive. They have broken their chains and run away. So we just got to do better shows.
Like I said, there may be some folks find us on the replay,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and and
And
they will learn some stuff they may probably aren't aware of.
it's not like I was hoping this would be monetized so I could retire. I'd really rather not have any commercials in the damn thing.
Exactly.
All right. Well, you have a good night, and I'll see you.
Hopefully,
Mm,
last man standing Thursday, but no promises.
Thursday. Yeah. Yep. I couldn't think of anything in between now and then that we would both be in the same room for. So
Until
I'll
next
be.
time,
Yep. I'll
take
be.
care.
Hopefully going on Michaela Jade's Tidbits and Scribbles Monday night.
Okay, cool.
And I am looking forward to Keisha Akos um, 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 oh, damn it, Willa Schuyler's Cryptid Crunch tomorrow night, and then they run a very short show, but it's usually very entertaining.
Okay.
And
Good.
then
I gotta go.
let's see, Tuesday night there's a big interview uh, on Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. They've got the lady that played Madame Pompadour on a David Tennant episode of Doctor Who, Girl in the Fireplace. And after that, I guess it's going to be down to Thursday night, stupid o'clock. So um, let's just go ahead and run the credits.